A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to KTN World Cup 2026. I'm Robinson Okenye. And of course, 5 goals were scored on the opening day of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And remember, the opening match involved the host Mexico taking on South Africa. Today, here on the show, we'll be dissecting what transpired yesterday, as well as look at the 2 fixtures that we have for today, before taking a look at the fixtures that will be played tomorrow. In studio today, I've decided to change things a little bit. I've said that we don't want to make a lot of noise down here. We want some peace. So I've decided to eliminate Hassan Juma as well as Davis Meria to make room for a new entrant, Rogers Eshtemi. Good afternoon, Rogers.
Good afternoon, Robinson.
You had to wait for the first match to be played so that you can come here.
Absolutely. Always wait for the best, and then when you come, things just keep on rolling.
Today I see you are matching with Cedric. Cedric, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Who copied the other?
Thank you, Cedric.
Who copied the other?
No, it's a shame, he has been away. He doesn't know actually the code and how we operate here.
Yes.
He needed to have some cards before he can actually sneak in, and you can see how he has come in very silent,
yes.
But he's so much composed with what is going on.
Yes, of course. Remember, we'll be joining Hassan Juma and Davis Mberia later. They like flashy things, and they've said that they will not stay with that. They will not stay with us here today. They want to stay at a place that is flashy. So, in a bit, we'll be joining them. But remember, today we are asking you a very simple question. South Africa suffered a defeat in their first match of the tournament against Mexico. Do they have what it takes to go through to the next round of the competition? Do they have that mettle in them to go to the next round of the competition? South Africa lost to co-host Mexico on the opening day of the 2026 World Cup. Do they still have a chance to progress from Group A? You can SMS in. The number to SMS is 22151. It's totally free. SMS, give us your views on what you expect from South Africa from the remaining 2 matches after losing the first tie to South Africa. You can also call in and give us your views on what the expectations are in regards to South Africa. Are Bafana going to make it through from Group A of this competition? Remember, you can SMS in. This number is 22151, which is totally free. SMS in, give us your views. You can also call in and tell us what you expect from the next 2 fixtures from Bafana of South Africa. Now, before we get into the results from the matches that were played yesterday, Hassan Juma and Davis Meria will be coming to you in a bit. So, yesterday, the opening fixture of the tournament, after a very fantastic opening ceremony, the hosts got the very much needed win. But before we get deep into that, Hassan Juma and Davis Meria, I hear you like flashy things, and today you've decided to, move away from the men in suits and you've decided to change your apparel.
DRC unajua hapo katika kombe hili la dunia, kwa hivyo ndio mambo yetu Robi, unajua tena mambo yetu haya flash nini. Angalia, hili ndio kombe ambalo linawaniwa na nchi 48 katika michuano hii ya kombe la dunia, ambayo sherehe ilifanyika hapo jana, sherehe ile ya ufunguzi, na mechi 2 zimeshachezwa. Kwa hivyo tutazungumza tu na wanahabari wenzetu hapa katika chumba cha habari Standard Group, tujue mambo yakoje, alafu wanapigia upatu timu gani kushamiri. Alafu hii leo kauli ambayo umezungumzia Afrika Kusini baada ya kupokea kile kichapo mabao 2 komboa ufe dhidi ya wenyeji Mexico. Maana wanasema daima kwamba mcheza kwa utuzwa na hutunzwa. Je, wanahisi kwamba huenda wakapiga hatua kutoka katika kundi hili la A, ama kitungua chao kimeingia mchanga? Sema nasi. Alafu pia nipo na mwenzangu Davis Mberia. Davis Mberia amesema leo anashabikia Algeria. Mambo vipi bro?
Uzi umetulia.
Uko
timu
sawa.
Imetulia.
Uko sawa.
Nangoja Juni 17. Tuanze na hawa ambao wanasema mabingwa watetezi. Itakuwa asubuhi. Kwa hivyo wawe tayari.
Wanasema mapema ndio pesa.
Mapema tunamaliza kila kitu.
Kwa hivyo Robi, sisi tuko hapa tunajimoya na wenzetu. Yani angalia bro, angalia rangile. Nini muendelee kupigwa na kijibaridi huko, sisi tuko sawa.
Haona lolote la
hamna lolote la kutueleza bwana.
Yes, Hassan Juma and Davis Berry. I remember before the show started, Hassan Juma, you were in an Egypt jersey. I don't know what happened that you had to change. Is it because Davis decided to take on Algeria? But that is a conversation for another day. So let's begin with Mexico versus South Africa match that was played yesterday, and Quinones as well as Raul Jimenez were each on target as Mexico got a 2-0 win against South Africa in the opening fixture.
The best way I can put it is that
in that opening fixture of the 2026 World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada, but that match was played at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico. Roger Sistemi, welcome to the show now. Let's begin. Mexico winning the opening fixture. Remember when they played South Africa in 2010 in the opening fixture, it was a 1-1 draw. But they say that at home, this time things will be different.
I think that was a very perfect start for the host, because definitely as a host you come with a lot of pressure, the nerves pumping in, but for them now they have lifted that pressure from themselves thanks to that beautiful win against the South Africans. But let's say it clearly that indeed Hugo Boris, the South African coach, has himself to blame, because actually he came to this game, I think, with some fear. They never took the game to the Mexican, and that's why the Mexican had to use everything they had to ensure they punished them. Just look at the opening goal. That was a defensive mistake from Yaya Chitole, and definitely also I can blame the goalkeeper to one way or another, because if William Rowens shouldn't have given him that ball, because he knew there was a lot of pressure behind Chitole, but he decided to give him, and that is a defensive midfielder. Once you get maybe anybody's around you and you make a mistake, definitely be punished, and that's exactly what happened, and they ended up to concede in the 9th minute. That's now the pressure keep on pumping onto the awaiting that the Bafana side.
Cedric, you had so much expectations from Bafana before the game started. I mean, I remember you telling me, they have 8 Mamelodi Sundown players. These are people who have played together. They might make a difference in the game, but that wasn't the case.
For some of us who have been following that league year in, year out, we thought that this was their time. Remember, it has taken them 16 years again to come back to World Cup. And we were equating how they played in the World Cup that they hosted in 2010. That was in Africa, in South Africa.
Yes. And
they played very well. Their opening game, I think it was against this particular team that they faced today, Mexico. And they actually ended up in a draw. So we were trying to think that for 16 years thereafter, South Africa having been building on their league, which has had no any other shenanigans. There has been no controversial in their league. And they have been out there trying to sell and market their league to the global space. So we thought that this is their time, that they are coming with South Africans to bring to that particular league, and they will be giving us a different aspect of the kind of a league that they have been actually marketing and championing this outside there. I wouldn't think that Mamelodi Sundowns, having produced all those 8 players, it will mirror what England has been doing to us. Bringing a player who are actually trading home, and you try to play up till the quarter or the semi-finals of the tournament or the World Cup stature. That's how you end up selling your league and attracting so more players outside the sphere of the South Africa.
There's something that stood out from yesterday's game. I mean, there were 3 red cards. And before you talk about that, I want us to take a look at those red cards that were issued yesterday. 2 to South Africa and 1 to Mexico. Let's take a
look. Trying to advance their agenda to their box. I wasn't so actually perturbed when seeing Themba Zwane being given that particular, because you could see the nervousness that he was encompasses with in that particular match. Remember the mistake he did that culminated to them conceding their goal number 1. It was just due to anxiety, Sitole.
Yes.
And I think the stage also was quite so big for this team. For a difference of 16 years without participating in that kind of stage was actually being played into the South African nerves. So,
when you say it like that, Roger Sistemi, these 2 players that were carded yesterday, they're among the most experienced in the team.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think just they switched off. They never knew this stage is big, and any mistake you make, you'll be punished for it. That's exactly what happened. Look at the first goal. Let's start from the first goal. Chitole make a mistake, and then they concede. Then I think 3 or 4 minutes into the second half, there he is. He's trying to stop Guterres from a goal-scoring opportunity. He conceded a penalty, a red card, and that's he puts pressure on his side. And then I think midway through the second half, again, Zwane comes in, and then
just come from the bench.
From the bench, barely I think 10 or 15 minutes, and then he makes a mistake that's slapping his opponent. There it is. he gets another red card. I think maybe even themselves, they knew from onset that it's going to be a very tactical game. But just like Cedric has said, indeed, you know, most of them, they were too physical. They never knew about the positional awareness and where they are. You'd make a mistake at that particular moment, definitely you'll be punished. And the VR is there. It will assist the referee if maybe one of the tackles go missing. That's why I feel maybe even the coach himself, I still blame the coach. He came into this game, I think, with the defensive minded, and he never told his players, you have the opportunity to carry this ball and attack the Mexican, because once you attack them, they feel the pressure and they can maybe retrieve and maybe avoid attacking you. But he allowed them maybe to sit back, waiting maybe for counterattacks, something that even they are forward line led by Foster. They never did anything in that game. They were just ball watching throughout.
Yes, of course, ball watching, and at the end of the day, they only had 2 shots on target. Now, Hassan Juma, Davis Mberia, Wakenya wanasema vipi, na pengine pia colleagues wetu wanasemaje kuhusu mechi ya jana?
Mitandaoni sauti nzuri, nimesikia kauli ya Roger Stem akizungumzia mtanange wa jana, mtanange kati ya Afrika Kusini na Mexico, na ndio mtanange ambao tunakuhusisha katika mitandao ya kijamii. Tunakuuliza, je, baada ya kichapo hicho cha Afrika Kusini katika staftahi ya kombe la dunia, je, wana nafasi ya kufuzu katika raundi nyingine? Sema nasi. Bob Oino, South Africa has no chance of qualifying because almost the whole continent. Huyu naye anasema ati bara zima la Afrika nikana kwamba lilikuwa halipigi upatu, lilikuwa halishabiki nchi ya Afrika ya Kusini. Mwenzangu Davis Mberia atakuwa na tangamana na wanahabari wenzetu hapa chumba cha habari. Mimi nikijiburudisha, maana yake hii nafikiri ni sherehe ya ufunguzi ya kombe la dunia, au sio?
Vidosho umependeza.
Wasema kwa upole. Ndio vidosho wa Mexico hawa. Mexico
waliwachanganya na Afrika Kusini.
Au sio? Kwa hivyo Davis Mberia, piga lundi, naona jamaa anachangamka pale. Ametulia tu.
Kazi wanapiga, lakini pia michuano wanasubiri.
Wacha mimi niendelee na sherehe hii ya jana ya ufunguzi kombe la dunia nzuri hii.
Haya basi, tuzungumze na baadhi tu ya wanahabari ambao pia wanafuatilia michuano hii ya kombe la dunia. Wanieleze kuhusiana na mechi hapo jana usiku. Afrika Kusini ambao wanawakilisha hasa bara Afrika wana nafasi nyingine ya kwenda zaidi ya makundi, au Mexico ambao ni wenyeji wana hasa pale watatumia wenyeji wao angalau kukata kile kiu cha muda mrefu cha kutoa kombe la dunia. Na je, ni hasa timu ipi ya taifa ambayo wanaipigia upatu bwana? Namuona wana Kelly. Najua we ni mtu wa biashara kidogo, lakini leo ni kama umeenda zaidi ya namna kusema kwamba normal is not again normal.
Tuache story ya biashara.
Sasa kombe la dunia bwana limeshaanza. Afrika Kusini, mechi inatukumbusha 2010. Hapo jana unaonaje?
Kwanza ile atmosphere ilikuwa kwa hiyo stadium, Estadio Azteca is one of those stadiums that is nakuanga very popular and legendary. Legendary footballers wamecheza sana kwa hiyo uwanja. So ukiona hivi unaona kina Cafu, unaona watu wengi sana. So Pele inaletanga ile atmosphere fiti kabisa, alafu watu wa Mexico wanapenda ball. So
jezi inasema kwamba ni timu ambayo unashabikia au ni mapambo tu na jiba?
No, Hispania 2010 hadi saa sasa mimi ni mtu wa Spain. Tuko sawa, ukiangalia midfield yetu ni fiti, a very strong defense hata kama ni young. Alafu hapo mbele of course tuko na Yamal.
Mchezaji yupi ambaye utamwangazia katika kikosi cha Hispania?
Yamal.
Mnasema mnaregesha yale mapepe ya Euros.
Kabisa. Sasa hii ende ya Ronaldo na Messi nje kidogo. Sasa tunaanza kuona the new talents showing up in this World Cup.
Haya, tuzungumze na mjuaji wetu wa alerts ambaye anasema kwamba wakati taarifa zinatokea lazima ujue kwa haraka kabisa. Akoje? Karibu zaidi bana. Tuanze tu, timu yako ni gani? Manake tumeondoka masuala ya Chelsea, tumeingia kombe la dunia.
Lazima ongelea Chelsea hapa ndugu yangu. Lakini timu yangu Hispania. Naishabikia Hispania. Kwenye bara la Afrika naishabikia timu ya Batoto Bakongo. Wale Afrika Kusini kidogo warudi nyumbani. Tukae hapo kama.
Safari yao imekwisha?
Safari yao kwa maoni yangu imekwisha.
Nini mbaya jana kiasi cha kupoteza?
Ukiangalia timu ya Afrika Kusini kidogo ni kama hawako wanaelewana. Pale kwenye safu ya ulinzi hawako wanaelewana. Ukiangalia katika kiungo cha kati hawako wanaelewana. Ukiangalia kule mbele kwa washambulizi pia hawako wanaelewana. Ilikuwa ni kama ule mpira wa chaos, the football a game of chaos. So ndo maana kidogo wakapata kadi nyekundu 2, ingawaje pia wenyeji Mexico pia walipata kadi yao.
Nani anasepa na ubingwa wa makala haya?
Hispania.
Bwana ni kama ina watu wa Chelsea. Manake Kelly Boss ni shabiki wa Chelsea. Huyo pia shabiki wa Chelsea. Bwana ni kabla kwenda kwake, mabinti pia inafaa wajue. Tuanze tu, timu ni gani? Alafu makala haya dunia unayafuatilia?
Unafuatilia kwa mbali tena sana. Portugal. Jana of course
ya Cristiano
Alafu jana nilikuwa side ya Mexico, so yeah.
Ya telenovela au vipi?
Te amo.
Vidija, naomba nikuondoe kidogo kwa kazi yako ambayo ni ya kila siku, kuhakikisha kwamba kidigitali tunakuwa sawa, mtazamaji anapata zile taarifa kwa utendeti. Sasa nikurejeshe michezoni. Timu ni gani? Hapo jana Afrika Kusini ndio mwendo unakaribia kuisha, au Mexico ndio hasa matumaini yao kutoa ubingwa yapo?
Kusema kweli, Waswahili husema mcheza kwao hutuzwa. So Mexico walikuwa na advantage. Ilikuwa ni mechi yao ya kwanza na wanacheza nyumbani, na pia mafans waliwasaidia. So Bafana walikuwa na mshike kidogo wakatens, especially baada ya kupokezwa ile kadi ya njano, kadi nyekundu I mean. So wakatens kidogo, but bado wako ndio sasa ngome imeanza. Bado wako na mechi zingine za kucheza, na saa zingine unapata kwamba ile timu ambayo imenyoroshwa zaidi ndio unapata imefika finali.
Unasema wanataka kuwa kama Argentina.
Hivyo sasa. Lakini raundi hii niko na timu tatu. Niko na Lions of Teranga, niko na Croatia na niko na Brazil. So bado sasa saizi tunaweiwei, tunapima kuona ni nani atafika kule mbele. Kwa hivyo tukifika pale katika raundi ya mchujo tutakuwa sasa tumejua ni timu gani tunashabikia.
Sema kwa mara ya kwanza Senegal wanatuletea ubingwa wa Afrika.
Kabisa tunawashabikia sana, tunataka wafanye mambo. Maana wako na timu mzuri na wako na kila jambo la kujiweza. Yes.
Shukrani sana Vidija bwana. Huyo ni Vidija ambaye anashughulika vilivyo kwa akisha kwamba masuala ya digitali yako sawa, taarifa ziko sawa, alafu upande mwingine mambo yanakuwa sawa. Haya, nizungumze na baadhi ya wahariri upande wa gazeti la The Standard, upande wa michezo. Huyu sasa kiwariri, lakini pia pale katika kombe la dunia. Sasa nataka ulete falsafa zako. Tuanze kwa majina, alafu mambo yako vipi kwanza?
Ni naitwa Bismarck Mutai. Ni vile umesema ni mhariri wa spoti. Sasa sijui unataka niseme nini kuhusu kombe la dunia.
Hapo jana Afrika Kusini yamekwisha, Mexico ndio mwanzo wa kutoa taji.
Mexico ni timu nzuri, vile walicheza mechi ya kwanza walicheza vizuri, lakini mambo ya kushinda kombe bado hatuwezi ongea kwa Mexico watashinda. Lakini kuhusu Afrika Kusini, unajua vile kulienda, karibu Afrika ama tuseme wa Kenya wote walikuwa upande wa Mexico kulingana na zile vitu tunajua kuhusu Afrika Kusini.
Mechi za weekend bwana unazionaje? Canada wapo bwana, kunao mchuano mkubwa ambao kila mtu anasubiria wa Afrika, Morocco dhidi ya Brazil. Itakuwaje bwana weekend?
Hiyo ndio sasa mchuano ambao kila Mwafrika, kila mtu anaiongoja. Mimi kwangu binafsi mimi ushangilia timu ya Brazil. Lakini sasa inakutana na timu ya Afrika, na hiyo ndio timu ambayo kila Mwafrika anatarajia labda itafika katika ile kombe lililopita, ilikuwa Qatar, walifika robo finali. Sasa labda itakuwa ni timu ya kwanza ya Afrika kufika finali, lakini wakikutana na Brazil si ile Brazil tulikuwa tumezoea, si ile Brazil ambayo tunajua itashinda. Lakini wakati Brazil ushinda kombe la dunia, huwa ni timu yenye kila mtu atarajii kushinda. So huwezi sema Brazil haitashinda. Wako hapo wakifuatana na kina France, Spain, wote tutawaweka kwa.
Ni kama uzi unazungumza timu ambayo unapigia upadi.
Hapana, ni kutoa tu maoni.
Shukrani sana. Huyo ni Bismarck bwana. Sasa nirejee upande wa pili, Hassan Juma yuko kule, lakini kwanza kabla ya kwenda kwake turejee upande wake Robinson Okenye na upande mwingine Eshitemi na Cedric Msumba, waangazie hasa mechi ambazo tunatarajia weekend zitakuwa vipi, na wewe kama hasa mtazamaji utaekeza wapi kwa ajili ya kombe hili la dunia. Kwako Robinson Okenye.
Thank you very much, Davis Mbiri and Hassan Juma. So before we get into the other match that was played in the morning, we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be delving deeper into the tie between the Czech Republic and South Korea. Hwang in Boom and Hyun Gyu with the goals that gave South Korea their first win in the opening match, or rather in their first match in their group as they got a 2-1 win against the Czech Republic. Cedric Musumba, remember when we were proving Group 1? You said rather that we should not sleep on South Korea. They have very lethal strikers.
They have been producing strikers that can really give them goals, and you can see by the results and how they played yesterday, coming all the way from behind to equalize and then ending up winning the match. So actually an able statement to any given team that is going to face them. Also their talisman Son was actually driving that agenda, trying to find spaces, and if you go by the attempt that they tried to make in that particular game, it's another equally statement that a team that can make like 14 kind of trials on the goal, that's a questionable kind of essence of a team that is trying to look for goals. You go by the Lee who actually scored for them. Those are the silent killers in a team. He was nowhere. No one actually could have rated him before the game, but he raised to occasion whereby the likes of Kim In-jae in the defense could not actually command their spaces on the set pieces. He tried to bring the team back to the play, and that's what he did. And now here, South Korea, they're in the prime space of surging up to the second round of the tournament. It's only 1 point that they are lacking to be in that space, because 4 points can really give you the round of 24 whenever that it comes to an end and the team had tied at a certain level.
Were you surprised by the intensity?
Not really, because the Asian, Japan, South Korea, and the other team, they are equated to playing their pacey kind of style. They are so center of gravity, stable enough on the pitch, and they try to pass those short passes and driving the ball very quick transition up front. So any other team, you see the likes of Kufol with the edge that they have driven a mass in these tournaments in, they were really feeling so much pressed up, and they try to drive up front, trying to look for those spaces and the passing to the attack, the likes of Patrick Schick. Finding space to recover back, it was a problem to them, and that's where this kind of South Korea were capitalizing on those particular spaces that are being, of spaces that are being left behind when the likes of Kuful were driving up front, trying to look for an equalizer.
Roger Sishtemi, Cedric has mentioned the like of, Patrick Schick, the likes of Kuful, the likes of Thomas Sushek. We expected a lot from them, but they did not deliver.
At this stage, it's all about teamwork. When you don't have the star players into you, of course you have the experienced players, but they don't have still energy into your legs, and so they don't have enough gas into their stomach. So you have to get something spectacular for you to turn around the game. But for them, of course, Soshek thought that maybe he had gotten the winner for Czech, but unfortunately it was ruled for offside. And then look at the Koful at Patrick Schick. They were not at their best. Of course, they scored this goal via a long throwing that we have always been seeing in the Premier League. But this particular moment, the intensity that the South Korean come with it, they are so good at it, and they know tactically they're also good. So they know even if our talisman is not doing his job, that is so definitely we have the likes of Hong In-bom who will do the job and maybe deliver the much needed points for the South Korean. And remember, it's not by surprise that indeed they started it off very well. They've had a very good campaign coming to this tournament, and I feel if they've already won this particular opening match, they have 2 games to come that they can frustrate maybe one of them and maybe get the 3 points in the other game. And just like that, they'll find themselves into the next round of the competition. And equal at the same time, I think Hung scored one of the best goals of the tournament so far, and you'll not be surprised to see maybe if it's contending for the goal of the tournament, because the tactical, the precision, and how he executed that first goal is just top class.
Cedric, we may be preempting early, but the 2 teams that got their wins yesterday, the ones that are going to go through to the next round of the competition?
Not really. We haven't seen the best of World Cup yet.
In that group.
Oh, the group, that's quite predictable.
In Group
and
A.
I think when we are trying actually to permute and to predict prior when we are building up to World Cup, we clearly tell a team that we are taking their form to World Cup. You go by the South Korea, the player that are trading, we haven't even mentioned the likes of Lee, who actually played for PSG. He was a thorn in Kuful's flesh, I think at the start of the match, trading at the left wing, and you could see him driving and creating those chances. Any player that is there is capable actually to drive, and you see by the quality, they have the 2 legs of Lee from both sides, the other one from Mainz, Bundesliga, and the other one from PSG, and they were doing work for them. You come to South Africa, they did not show up, they didn't come up to life, and you couldn't tell. The Modau, the Modiba, Teboho Mokoena, the mistake they were doing rightfully at that particular pitch could not tell us that a team is in the World Cup. So as to say, Czech Republic and South Korea and South Africa, they have not realized that they are at World Cup. They are still playing their build-up at their first matches of their opening World Cup. They need to rise up to the occasion and try to define. And more so, because they have lost, they will need to redefine their essence at the stage in the World Cup when the two teams now meet. That's where they will be defining their moment, so as to go ahead and see if they can advance at least the second round of the tournament. But how they played, they are not quite convincing anyone that they are at World Cup.
Just in addition to what Cedric has said, Robinson, I think as we speak, I've just spoken about maybe some spectacle player you need to have in the team. There's players that we call X-factor players, the likes of maybe Julian Quinones, the man who scored the opener for Mexico against South Africa. Those are the players that you need maybe in time when things are thick, they take their individual brilliance and try to open up things for you. Remember, this particular player, Quinones, was the top scorer in the Saudi Arabia League. He scored, I think, a staggering 33 goals, and he beat the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo to this. I think Cristiano Ronaldo, Joao Felix, all those players, the Benzema, they were beaten to the Golden Boot. So that tells you that even if Yemes is not doing the job, there are players like Guterres who will come in and do this job for them, as well as the likes of Quinones. So I feel if you don't have those particular players, when maybe things are so thick, they can unlock it using their own individual brilliance, then your World Cup would be as good as gone for the likes of South Africa and maybe Czech Republic, because Czech has experienced players. They don't have those players, young players or individual players who can carry the team on their back.
And you know why I feel like South Africa and Czech, it's like they are finished. Look at how they played after they have soaked in goals. Their front line, which is actually tasked by getting them goals, was substituted. At some point, I saw the likes of Patrick Chick was being substituted. He wasn't happy. It tells you a story of a team that was not ready for their first match. The same happened to South African, where Foster and Rayson actually were substituted at a particular level. So their the line and the department that could drive the team forward was not ready for the coaching staff. They are still rearranging their team.
Actually, Cedric, I feel...
Wait, Estebi, now that Cedric has brought back South Africa, I want us to listen in to what the players said after the game so that you can comment on that, and then we come to Czech Republic, what the players said. So let's begin with South Africa, what the players had to say after going to 9 men down. So we go back to South Africa, what the South African players had to say after they lost to Mexico. Then we'll come back to the Czech Republic.
Yeah, no, tough day.
Do not define Bafana Bafana. Say no. Not my words, but from Bafana Bafana.
They are talking like professionals, and they know very well they're in front of camera. They will try to sugarcoat their words, but back into their ego, they know what actually happened that particular pitch. As we were watching, they were nowhere. All the basics of football were actually missing from the South African team that you can follow. There was no good ball control. There were no good passes that were culminating from them. You could see actually runs being done by the player who were off the ball, but player holding the ball, when they try to pass, they were passing to the opponent, giving away easy possessions. That's not a kind of quality that you bring to a quality of World Cup stature. You do such kind of a mistake, you see what happened to them. Even goalkeeper Reno Williams trying to give building from back to an acre of a space to a center defensive midfielder who knows how to do it, because that should just come a one touch. Actually, that did not work for South Africa. So what they are trying to tell us that they were not ready, that did not play to their style. They are playing against Mexico, which, and again, they are not the title favorites, but they bagged in 2 goals. They ended up finishing the game with 2 red cards. That means that actually they have equated 2 good players from their starting 11. They will be coming in with different team play. Also, they have questioned their formation, which and again was kind of the build-up kind of conversation. Their formation, starting with a back 5, taking a back 5 defensive line to World Cup.
You've spoken about formation, and the player rightly said that they've been working on that formation throughout the preparations, and they expected it to work.
But preparation does not call for the tournament. Remember, the team that you are facing, you need to study their style of play. They did not know how the Mexico will take the ball to their D areas. Mexico were playing into their half. Them, they have simple. It was so hard for them to realize that Mexico were coming to their goals so that they can change formation within the gameplay. They stuck to their back five. you are inviting problem, and they kept on inviting problem that culminated to them conceding goals. So South Africa, by the way, if you go by how they represented Africa, we are not happy. It's not our kind, but we Africans, we are not happy. They have been out there telling us that their league is really doing very well. We have seen leagues that have done this. Saudi Arabia, Quinonios has gone back to Mexico and it has scored against the South African league. Then which kind of league are they talking about? Their formation, not unless if they define it differently. Remember, they are facing Czech. And if they happen even to pick a drop from Czech or they lose against Czech, it's over for them. They are only remain with 2 matches, then they pack their stuff back to Pretoria.
Now let's move away from South Africa. Let's go to Czech Republic. Remember, they lost to South Korea 2-1 was the final score. And this is what the Czech players had to say after the game. So they are saying that their focus now is at the next match. Roger Sishtemi, it's not going to be easy for them.
No, maybe it can be easy against South Africa. You know, they have been meeting the 2 weak teams in the group so far because there's a lot at stake between these 2 teams. You lose, you pack your bags and go back home. So I think the Czech team just need to go back to the drawing board and know exactly what it means for them to be in this tournament. Already, at least they have scored a goal compared to South Africa. That tells that they have what it takes also to score goals. They have a very little striker in the name of Patrick Schick, who can...
Do you believe, like Sedo said, they're going to send South Africa back to Pretoria?
Absolutely, absolutely. They're coming more wounded. Compared to South Africa, they don't have a plan to handle this particular World Cup, because looking at how they played, South Africa played against the host, trust me not, they were subdued in the midfield and the offensive line. That's the striker. What they were playing was the defense against the Mexico, because they were just inviting the pressure throughout the game, and they're lucky actually they conceded only 2 goals. They should have conceded at least 4 or so, because they were saved by the post. I think a few minutes by when Quinones shot this, his shot hit the post, and after that also they had other moments. But I feel for Czech, they know they have to take this game to the South African, and all the experienced players they have, they don't have the energy and the gas in their bellies, but they have to do their best. The likes of Soshek, the like of Patrick Schick, Kofol, these are the players who have played at the top level for the longest period possible, and it could be their last World Cup or rather top tournament. So they need to at least come to the party and give the Czech fans at least a smile on their face.
Yes, after the first day was completed, Mexico with a 2-0 win against South Africa, and Czech Republic losing to the Korean Republic 2-1 was the final score. Let's now cross over to the other studio where Hassan Juma and Davis Mberia are on standby. Hassan Juma, najua umefika South Korea before. Najua umefika huko na ulikuwa unaishabikia.
Tumefika South Korea. Yeah, I have a soft spot for South Korea, having been there. I have a soft spot for Brazil. Nilikuwa 2014 World Cup, so na shabikia, lakini sijawapigia upatu sana kushamiri katika awamu ya mwaka huu kombe la dunia. Nipitie tu baadhi ya jumbe Robinson Okenye, Cedric Msumba na Roger Zishtemi. Manake leo tulikuwa tunaulizia kuhusiana na Afrika Kusini baada ya kuchapwa hapo jana. Je, bado wana matumaini ya kuingia katika mabano ya raundi nyingine? Mwadime Opono anasema they have no chance. Kasha Maina, the other teams should make sure they don't score any goal at this tournament. Paul Odigil anasema no, they cannot. Alafu Sami Ndisho anasema no, they ought to return quickly home and protect their jobs. Their plane's engine ought not to be turned off. Paul Yutman anasema there's not even a little chance. Mike Collins, they deserve it. Paul Yutman amesema hawatatoboa. Baadhi ya jumbe tu ambazo zimetumwa kuhusiana na masala ya kombe la dunia, timu hii ya Afrika Kusini, watu wamefunguka, manake South Africa we are participating in this tournament to win it.
Apparently they are going home.
Lakini mambo hayakuwa mazuri. Davis Beria.
Nimezungumza na hasa wenzetu katika chumba cha habari. Muda nao umetupa kisogo kweli kweli, lakini tunasema kwamba tutakuwa tunalipiga hivi tukiwahusisha pia, manake wao pia kuna timu za taifa ambazo wanashabikia na kuna timu za taifa ambazo wanataka zifike finali. Na kilichonipendeza kwamba mashabiki wengi wa kike kweli kweli ni kama wanapenda Mexico. Zile telenovela ni kama zinafanya kazi.
Telenovela kwa sio. Kwa hivyo leo jioni usiku football slip sio? Lakini unashabikia timu gani wewe?
Mimi nina timu mbili Afrika. Of course timu ambayo nimevaa Algeria.
Umechukua jezi tu. Una uhakika unashabikia na Algeria?
Mimi nashabikia.
Kutoka mwaka gani?
Kaka. Mwaka wa 2018 nilikuwa nao. Hawakuwa 2022 lakini pia nina Simba wa Teranga.
Gashane. Gashane ni mwanahabari masala ya siasa. Njoo kidogo.
Gashane njoo. Najua nashughulikia splash.
Nashughulikia splash lakini Gashane kimbia kwa haraka tu. Kimbia bwana. Gashane na ukiambiwa kimbia unakimbia.
Kwa masuala ya siasa kwenye rally ingekuwa ushafika.
Njoo haraka. Ingia. Atueleze tu. Kumalizia tu Gashane. Njoo hapa. Unashabikia timu gani bro?
Sasa wacha niseme kwamba mimi
na Gashane kwanza anafanya nini hapa?
Mimi ni mwandishi wa masuala ya kisiasa. Na kwa sababu mimi niko na usemi mkubwa sana katika hii mchezo wote. I want to be neutral. Sitaki watu waanze kushikana mashati. Mimi nataka nikuwe neutral kabisa. Ndio tuwe tunaangalia venye kunaenda. Sitaki kusema maneno ya kusupport timu ama ile.
Asante. Ni Gashane huyo mwanahabari mwenzetu ambaye yeye anaangazia masala ya siasa. Hatuna la ziada. Asante sana kutuzima macho na masikio, lakini ndio mkoko umeanza kualika maua. Kwa niaba wote wanafanikisha makala haya, mimi ni wako Hassan Juma. Shabash.
Hassan Juma and Davis Beria. But remember, 2 fixtures on the cards tonight. USA, the host, will be taking on Paraguay. And the other fixture, the first one, will see Canada take on Bosnia. Those are the fixtures that we'll be looking at to see what to expect. Thank you very much, Roger Zishtimi, as well as Cedric Musumba, for coming in and dissecting what happened yesterday. That is where we wrap up KTN World Cup 26. I'm Robinson Okenye. Have a good afternoon.